This is Where the Waters Meet. I'm Christina, and we're here today with the artist Evelyn Patricia Terry at her studio at the Lincoln Center for the Arts in Milwaukee. Hello.
Hi.
Here we are. Yes.
I know.
What are you doing? Here.
Okay, what I'm working on is a pastel piece, and I normally start out, I usually let my children start the bottom layers.
Really?
And I hire them so that they don't ask me for money. And so I say, you can come in.
Work for their money.
Yeah, I make them come in here and do the bottom layers, because I usually, whatever is on the bottom doesn't really matter, because I work in layers.
In pastel?
So, in pastel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm working on here. And I wrote all these names on it. It doesn't matter, because I just usually cover it all up. By the end, it'll be some completely other color. Sometimes I actually like what they do, and then I can't. It's not me, so I have to get rid of it. And this started out like this one, too, just basically white with some scribble on it.
So what is this one called?
Do you see it?
Right, energy released from a center.
Right, and usually I just make up a name. After I do them, I'll try to see what I'm thinking about at that moment, and I'll try to make a piece that relates to something that I'm thinking about. So it doesn't really mean any particular thing other than that there's probably something in the center of this picture, the scribbly lines. Mm-hmm. And
but I think that's true. I think that what happens in a person's life comes out in their artwork.
Well, a lot of times it does. Maybe in what they're thinking about or what's important to them. Maybe, for instance, sometimes people are just interested in concepts. So they'll come out in their artwork like formal kind of ideas, like squares or circles and shapes, and not anything emotional. Like, my work is always about something that has actually happened to me in my life. And even these pieces are like that. Sometimes I come in here and I'm really angry at somebody, and I just start drawing like this. I'm thinking about what I would love to do to that person, like jump them in the night.
It's good therapy that way. You know,
right,
then you also produce something.
Well, so what happens is I always say that we should take it to the bank. Your anger or your energies, the animosities that you feel about other people. I started collecting because I love artwork. I mean, I just like to see it. I just like to be around it. So usually I collect what I can afford right now. So it's not a lot. I can usually get some pieces here and there.
But it's an unusual thing, because I always hear about you that you collect the work of other artists, and I would think that would be something that would be encouraged. People
I always try.
Should buy.
Yeah, I think they should. And a lot of artists say, well, they trade with other artists, which is also good. And I trade sometimes, but occasionally I don't like trading. And basically it's because I like to buy what I want so that I don't feel like I may be traded wrong. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that I just don't like the idea of it. Sometimes I'll do it, but basically I like to go in and say, I want this piece, and find some money to get it. So do you want me to show you some of the pieces that I have?
Okay.
I have another piece I forgot that I just bought, but it's over there. It's weird.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just show you.
Okay.
This one for now. This is by Patrick Turner. He's an artist who lives here, African American. And this is just a small...
By here you mean Milwaukee?
In Milwaukee, right. Okay. He lives in Milwaukee. And he travels around a lot to... you might have to turn it different ways, I don't know.
I think we should just hold it and show it. Okay.
He travels around. He likes to do art exhibitions and festivals. He likes to do that kind of thing. So he travels like to California, Texas a lot, to New York, and he does art fairs. And he's found a really good market that way, whereas he didn't have a good market here at first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then I have this piece by Prophet Blackmon, and I think he's so interesting. because he lives in this garage.
He lives in the garage?
Yeah, I just think that is amazingly different. And he always says that people around him, they don't really know that he's doing art in there. And he also has church services. And he's always telling people about pains that they might have or people that they might be meeting in the future.
Oh, yeah, he foretells things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this piece is,
which is why they call him Prophet.
Right,
Blackmon.
Prophet Blackmon.
Yeah.
He told me I was going to get married, though, and I haven't found anybody yet. I mean, I haven't even.
Say when?
He said it would be soon, and that was 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't know what soon is for him.
Right.
Might be 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But this particular piece, he said, was probably the second or third piece that he had done. Now, he started out because yeah, that's what he said. Mm-hmm. And he started, like, if you see his work now, it's really vivid, bright, purples, pinks, yellows. And he started out with just these browns and blacks and whites, just very few colors that were bright in it at all.
And he's unschooled, right? He's
self-taught. How he started out is he used to paint all these signs out in front of his building at Sydney High. And a woman came by and saw the sign, because he also repairs shoes. So she saw the sign and she said, well, I'd like to buy a sign, because the sign had all kinds of misspelled words in it, so it had a lot of character. And so what he decided to do was to paint it and decorate it a little bit. And that's what got him started. He decorated the sign, and then another woman came and said she wanted one just like the other woman's. So he painted it up a little more. And then because of that, he didn't know anything about paint. Even in this picture, I think he mixed oil with water base.
Wow.
Because he didn't know, and he'd just paint anything, and it would crawl around and be strange like that, because he's mixing different things together. So now he knows a little more. He's really doing very well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, everyone knows about it.
Yeah. I have to try to say something about Jacqueline.
It's great because it's all the different personalities in the artwork.
And I don't like anything in particular. I mean, I don't have a particular style. I like all kinds of things that are strange. This is done by Jacqueline Richards, and she used to be my studio partner. But then she went away to New York and to teach at Princeton. And then she came back for a while, so she's here right now, but she has a different studio. But this was a piece we did for an exhibition about apartheid. And I always love this thing where this cross is coming out of this person's mouth.
Uh-huh.
And then you can't tell all this, but there are all these bodies laying around the bottom. And I just kind of like the breakup of, like how this line goes across the white or the light part and the dark, deep black part here. And her work is basically non-objective. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of a little diversion, even though I have seen a little tree or something in some of the pieces. But,
got there.
Yeah, but this one is it was so unusual. And it's done on, I think it's tar paper.
Oh, that's why it's so thick.
Yeah, and heavy and stiff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I like this one a lot because of this kind of deep and...
I think it's good to show people that art can come in all different forms.
Right.
In one way.
Okay, now this piece is done by Margo Humphrey, and her images are real childlike and direct. And I really don't know the title of this. I have to get her to tell me what it is, but it's something about dreams. And each one of these people are holding their dreams. But it's real interesting. I just like the way she draws it, and I have another piece by her at home.
I would have thought it was a drawing at first.
Well, it looks like it because you draw on a stone or a plate
with lithograph.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it looks like a drawing.
Right, but then you can make more than one.
Right. That's the good thing about it.
Right.
I'll show you this piece. I can't get it up. I can't plug it in, but it does all kinds of things, and I bought it because it's playful. And I got it from Sissy Pelt's gallery. It's by Jim Matson, and you can plug it in and things turn, the light comes on and things turn around in here, and this digital thing goes off and on, and this thing turns. So I just really love it because it's playful and because it's mechanical and can be plugged in, and then it's still art. I just love it. So this is one of my favorite pieces.
It's childlike but sophisticated.
Right. And this is a piece that I recently purchased from a gallery, and I forgot to see what the name of the gallery is. They just opened, and they're on Ogden, right, in the 900 block. But this is done by an Indian woman in northern Wisconsin, and her name is Char TerBeest. I just learned the name, so I'm trying to get familiar with saying it. But you can open the box and take the piece out and wear it as a necklace if you wanted to.
Which is great.
I like
really
it.
like that.
It's like a spirit box. So I really like this. I have a lot of artwork. Now I have one more piece. This is Gerald Duane Coleman, and he's a Milwaukee artist. He's African American, and he's a full-time professional artist. As a matter of fact, I learned a lot of what I know from Gerald professionally about money and how to try to stay on track about your self-worth. He helps me a lot in terms of just things that he does, like how do you get the right amount for your services and you don't sell yourself short. Well, he's one of the people that I've learned a lot about being professional from.
Which is important.
Yeah, it's very important.
And it's
so
quilted.
This is quilt. Yeah, not a man. Right. He loves to quilt things, and he paints in the background. He travels a lot to other countries, and
right.
I
This
think
is Terra Angelica, Earth Angel.
Earth Angel,
yeah.
Right. So I think he goes to Haiti, Jamaica, and lately he's been going to Brazil, maybe twice a year. So a lot of his work has to do with the African culture and orishas. He's really interested in the spiritual part of the culture.
So this is an installation, and you're in the process of doing it, right?
Okay, well, I'm not quite in the process of doing it. I've completed this phase of the installation, and this particular grouping of items that you see are part of a larger installation called Subtle Memories and Empty Promises that I have been working on for 2 years. And I started out at the encouragement of Jane Bright, who asked me to do an installation in a window at Saks. And then the response was so good that she asked me to expand the installation to present it at Walker's Point Art Center, or Center for the Arts. And so I did in April. So this particular grouping wasn't included in that installation, so I worked this out for the Historical Third Ward Art Competition for Installations, which was this past summer of '91, and I won first place. So as a result, I'll be presenting this installation again at Posner Gallery, because that was one of the awards for as well as money, and I also got a piece by Mary Schisler as one of the prizes. So you got 3 prizes, which is very good. I'd never won anything like that before. And so on January the 24th of '92, I'll be showing this installation at Posner Gallery along with some of my abstract pieces. And I could tell you a little bit about this. This installation is, what I like about it is the idea came to me. I was working on this table. It was in my house. And I had a butcher's block on top of it. And one day I decided to throw this out. And I started to try to take it apart. But this is a really old piece of furniture that I found in the basement of my house. And it was another color and everything. So I started taking it apart piece by piece to throw it away out in the backyard. But I couldn't get it apart. And you know how furniture is now. You start taking it apart, you don't even have to start taking it apart, it just falls on its own.
Right.
Well, this piece would not. A lot of those small pieces of wood that are on the side of the chair came out of this because it was part of the construction for the drawers. So as I was working on it, I said, I'm not supposed to throw this away. This is a good piece of wood, no matter what it looks like. It's a skeleton. So what I liked about it when I started grouping these items together for the installation is I ended up in a furniture store. And so I went and looked through my house, and in the garage I had this chair. The chair has no seat in it, you know. Right here you can see that there's nothing in the seat part of it. Mm-hmm. No, you can't sit down, so it's not really functional. And this table doesn't have a top, so it's not functional.
What's the table without a top?
Yeah, and so then there's a drawer also that went with the table that doesn't have a seat in it. You know, it's empty, so you can't really put things in the drawer. And then I found this shirt, and it doesn't have pants to it, so I just thought all these things together make some kind of a statement. Even though then I ended up finding these blackboards. I made these drawing boards in the blackboards, and I call this piece Selling Out. And I call it Selling Out because I had always been concerned with selling out. People always say, well, make sure you don't sell out as an artist. Mm-hmm. So I'm always like, selling out. I don't want to sell out. That's a terrible thing to do. What is it? So
yeah, but what does it mean?
So what it means is different things to different people. One of the things in the black culture that a lot of artists would say to me who are interested in doing art not for art's sake, but for political reasons or something. You have the functional reasons, some kind of reason. You can't just do it. So that's selling out. Okay. So I was always saying, oh, I'm not going to sell out. But now, you know, I got to this place where I just like the way things look. Mm-hmm. They don't have to do any other thing except look right or feel right for me, my soul. So they nourish me, but that's not enough for some people. So that's what I talk about in here, is that I sold out. And in the end, I think I wrote, and it feels good, but I like to change it to, and it feels politically correct. Because
and it does?
Yeah, it feels politically correct to be who I am and to do what I feel inside. And also to do work that, you know, when people say, well, what's black art? Well, black art is any art that a black person produces.
The name of this is Sometimes Things Work, Sometimes Not. And it's a pastel. And what does that mean?
Well, when I started, I like to write about little things that happen in life. Or when I say write, I always feel like I'm sort of a storyteller who happens to draw. So I'm writing with pastels. I'm drawing out these stories. So this is about, I like these chords, the way they look like. And I like to talk to people about things. The way you understand how things are supposed to be is when you plug a chord in, it's supposed to work. Otherwise, you have to go checking around to see what part of this system isn't working. So this has to do with, it looks like it works, it looks right, but then you have to still investigate farther. These two people represent that. You can see the man's hands and then the woman's derriere, and it's because they're supposed to work. They look like they work, like his hands are strong and she looks like she has a plump, firm, whatever. Everything looks right, but they came together and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And sometimes things don't work. And I like to draw about things not working a lot, so I always use this electrical cord to represent relationships when they don't work. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's what this piece is about. All right, now you can pull that little piece up over here, piece of tape. Okay, now this one also has an electrical outlet in it. It's one of the first pieces that I did that had a little outlet, and it's called But This Is Real. And this is an etching because I was saying I'm a printmaker. When I first started into art, the first thing I saw when I walked into the art department was an etching machine or a press. And that helped me to say, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Well, what happened is that I got married, I had children, moved around, and really couldn't get focused in on how you produce a print and in that environment, because printmaking takes a lot of time. I majored in printmaking when I got my bachelor's and then my master's, my first master's. And then I went to Chicago, and that was in '83, and I majored in printmaking again. So everything is always a major in printmaking, basically, and drawing. But recently I got a press. After 20-some years, I finally bought a press, and I've had it for 2 years, and I look at it a lot. I still haven't decided on how you make your time right to work on it, because it usually takes like blocks of time, like 8 hours, to get something you like. But anyway, back to this particular piece, I did it in, I think, 83, 84, 85, somewhere around in there when I was in Chicago. And I started putting images together that insinuate things. Like this shape is phallic, and it's a male symbol, and this is like a vaginal symbol for a woman. And these symbols are attacking those symbols over there, because that's the way I felt a lot about relationships. It was like an attack. And then this kind of shape I even still use today, the apple, because they always talk about the apple in religion and how it started all the mess, eating the apple off the tree, even though now a lot of people say they don't really know what fruit it was. The apple is blamed. And these little things have to do with, these are my 2 children. I always make these little shapes, and they represent my kids a lot, so they're floating around the center. And even this is a sack of insemination. For somebody being inseminated. Maybe this shape represents that. I don't really remember. But in here, it's I'm talking about my ex-husband, because I'm always angry at him about something. And because, you know, we don't always work well together because he won't do what I think he should do. And so anyway, I wrote this. A lot of times when I'm mad at people, I do a piece of art about them. And then I try to put it somewhere so they'll see it. Like in a newspaper or someplace. And people usually get the message. So this,
I'm sure they would.
This one is like the bridge is alive when it won't support the life it carries, because I'm talking about him in relationship to the children. So so that's what this is about. When I'm talking about him, and then I said sometimes things don't work. And this is about the plug again with things not working.
And it says here the broken steps to heaven.
Okay, this is the broken steps to heaven, and this is because my ex-husband is also a minister, and I'm always talking about the steps to heaven. I don't think that you can just go to heaven because you can repeat the Bible. I think you have to maybe, I don't know what heaven is, and I don't really know if it's real. All I know is that the way he seems to be to me, the steps would be broken. He wouldn't be able to get there.
I see.
Yeah. Okay, and so this is one of the pieces I just completed, probably within the last 2 months, and it's in a series of abstract pieces that I do. Basically, these pieces sell very well, and I'm lucky to have them. I know someone asked me once, what would happen to you if you got famous for those pieces? And I said, well, what would I care? They came out of me. It's not like I copied. They came out of my life.
Right, they're
and
yours.
They're mine. So I don't care if I get famous for things just because they're commercially successful. It's good because now I don't have to go do a lot of other things in order to do my art. I can do my art in order to do whatever strange thing I want to do, like installations or weird statements about things, you know. Even like the weird things sell occasionally. Like I might sell 1 or 2 a year. But these sell every month. And so that way I'm able to work in my studio all the time and pay my bills. So that's what I like about them. And I like to give them weird titles a lot. I don't even know what this extreme Extreme conditions of passion. I'm always talking about passion and relationships because that's what really interests me is relationships that people have. And,
what do you think passion is?
Passion to me is lots of things. It's like you can have a passion for life, just wanting to live good every day. You know, maybe pouring yourself into everything that you do, giving it 100%. And passion is also like the feeling that you feel for other people, sensuousness. You know, like the whatever comes up inside of you that has to do with sexuality. Mm-hmm. And I was always like not able to address that in life. It's like you don't think about that or talk about it. But now I try to talk about everything that you aren't supposed to talk about because I get tired of having all that stuff stuck somewhere and not dealing with it. So I deal with it in my titles because I also like words, putting strange words together to make statements about what is that, you know, what is that passion? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about?
This has been Where the Waters Meet. I'm Christina, and we're talking today with the artist Evelyn Patricia Terry. And thank you for showing us your work and everyone else's work.
Right. Thank you very much for interviewing me. I've had a great time.